hello.
What is up? It's Family Matters with Kevin Peterson. Do this every Thursday, Friday-ish to the best of our ability. This is the one and only Kevin Peterson. We are sponsored, as always, our beloved sponsor, Jaywalker Lodge. Kevin, how are you?
Good, Mr. Staples. How are you?
I stayed out way too late last night, so you're going to have to carry the show. So, yeah.
Now, just so we're clear, what's staying out way too late for you?
Now you shouldn't ask follow-up questions. So I was home, I think by 11:30 or something.
Okay, you win. No. That's late.
Well, I thought you were going to say that's not late at all, but
no, bro, I'm telling you. I mean,
like I like to start winding down at about 9:30, and it's I have a whole unwinding process. So if I stay out late, then that just pushes my unwinding phase. But anyway, so Family Matters, we do this to ease fears, calm anxieties, try to stump Kevin. Keep your questions coming. But any hot topics, anything you want to brush into, Kevin, before we get into it?
Oh, you can let's play dealer's choice. What do you got?
Jeez. Well, I think this is, I don't want to say review but it's, I can always tell what the hot topics are with families, and because it's normally comes through with a general theme. So in the spirit of financial kind of gifts or something, the question is, I mean, it's a longer kind of runs down, but 25-year-old doesn't live at home, lives with his girlfriend, had substance abuse issues for 6-7 years. So here's a mom and dad that sounds like boundaries, everything in place. She just wants to know, as far as he's got a birthday coming up, you got Christmas, you got, are we holding back gifts? I'm sure sending him money is not the best idea, but what is the overall belief, advice around gift giving with someone we don't like their lifestyle, but we still want to celebrate birthdays and so forth?
Oh my gosh! I wish I could bring my parents back from the dead. That's a great question. How do you not enable and facilitate through the concept of holidays and gifts and that sort of thing? And I would tell you that to a certain degree, I mean, depending on how far down the road they are, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, if we got somebody who's doing fentanyl living on the street, I don't care what you give them, they're gonna sell it, So, but if we're just talking about a 25-year-old's got a job, drinking too much with a girlfriend, I would not give him cash, no gift cards. I would find a company that, I would go buy him some clothes, right? But make sure that the store is not going to give him a cash refund. It's like, no, we'll give you trade or credit, but no cash refund. And, that's not going to take very long. Just Google it. Someone's going to come right up. And, I'm sure the 25-year-old drug addicts and alcoholics are going to look at me like, you're a Judas. How dare you? But it's like, yeah, I'm sorry. So, because one of my favorite questions, right, when we do family weekends or when and I have like 10 families in the room, I'm like, okay, first question, everybody in here who bought their kid drugs, raise your hand. And they're all like, oh, no. Oh, okay. Everybody here that paid for groceries, gas, rent, or the bills, raise your hand. You bought drugs. And they're like, oh. I'm like, it's okay. That's okay. Remember that drugs and alcohol are this much of the equation. Behavior is this much of the equation. So, addicts and alcoholics learn quickly how to make things work, So that's what.
And there's, you got that old black market for gift certificates. So everyone thinks that, you're safe with these Visa gift cards or whatever it may be, you can sell those too. So you can find a market for really anything. So, buy the actual clothes, not the money.
Or, massages, or I don't know, something, haircuts, I mean, whatever, get them a subscription to one of those men's haircut places, I'm just saying. So there's a great Randy Travis song called I gotta find a better class of losers. I remember hearing that. I was like, yep, that's right.
All right. Well, I want to get into another topic. I mean, it's let's just call it what it is, boundaries and so forth like that. We had a question this week, and not to make light, but I mean, I think the overall theme here, I'll just break it down, is families, I think, hear, they read, they try to educate themselves to the best of their ability about boundaries, and then you get that 2:30 a.m. kind of text and pleading, and it just seems like boundaries kind of go out the window. So I want to kind of break down a boundary. The question in general is it still a boundary? Is a boundary still a boundary if we're not enforcing it every time? So that kind of, can we just give an overall view on boundaries and kind of maybe actionable steps or something like that? So when that text comes at 2:30 pleading to get back in the house, boundaries don't just dissolve like Crystal Light.
Crystal Light. Oh my God.
I'm staring at a Crystal Light packet. That's the only reason.
I was like, what? Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about this last night in our Jaywalker family group. And, they were like, yeah, I mean, we do all the reading, we get our boundaries. And then, when push comes to shove, he's going to start saying like, well, then I'll kill myself, or I'll go live on the streets, or I'll just disappear and you'll never see me again. And we crumble. And I'm like, oh yeah. I said, okay, I'm going to give you three answers to that question. I'm going to give you the addict, the sober addict, and the therapist. First things first, the addict. Yeah, we know exactly what to say and how to say it. I mean, trust me, every addict learns quickly how far up the scale they got to go to get you to break. It's simple. It's very straightforward, and every one of us knows it, and every one of us did it. I don't care who you are. On some level, we all did, we all terrorized our family. So just be clear that, that was a well thought out campaign on his part, number one. Number two, sober addict. I have to learn how to take responsibility for my actions, right? And I have to learn, because it's tempting. I mean, when I was newly sober, it was tempting to tell my parents, well, I would do that, but I don't have any money because I'm newly sober, and I'm living the straight and narrow, and I don't have that kind of money. Same kind of manipulation. All right. Same, no drugs, no alcohol, still Kevin behavior. The old, when you sober up a horse thief, what do you got? Sober horse thief, right? Speaking of the Nashville rodeo. That's just reality, Therapist. So here's the thing. And this is what the therapist said to my parents in 1990. He's killing himself anyway. You're just enabling it. It's just on your dime. So why don't you put a stop to that and see what happens, and tell him, I love you, but I'm not willing to do this anymore. And if you want to keep going down that path, that's cool, but you're going to do it without us engaged in your process. If you want to quit or you want help, we'll help you. But we're not doing that anymore. And I understand that he's going to make all the threats and all that stuff. I get it. And I get that there's some of them are actually going to come through with it. I mean, I get that. But I mean, we're talking about someone who's 25, 30, 35, 40. They're adults. They're going to do whatever the hell they want anyway. You're not going to be able to control their behavior. See, here's the thing. Oh man, you got me. I mean, I'm ready to preach it out. Okay. He's not the issue. You are. Because you're coming at it from your wound. You're not coming at it from a position of strength or spiritual integrity. You're coming at it from your wound of, oh my God, this must be my fault. I created this person. I must be responsible. And you're not. I mean, you're just not. His addiction is his addiction. You know, you're not responsible for his addiction, but you are responsible for how you respond to it. And in one of our clinical meetings a week or two ago, our director of operations, Craig, this great guy, he has like his adorable little 4-year-old girl named Margaret, who I just dote on. She's the greatest. He made a really astute statement. He's like, I realized that I was parenting out of my childhood wounds, and that the only way I was going to be an effective parent for my daughter is if I healed my wounds so I could be present for her. And I was just like, okay, Greg, when are you going to come on my Thursday night meeting and talk to my parents? Oh my God. I mean, that's the essence of the whole thing right there, you know? So
that got you excited right there. The therapist, Kevin, you know. But I mean, realistically, you know, I'm sure they've heard it 1,000 times. Maybe they just need to kind of write it down on the chalkboard like teachers did to me all the time, like 50,000 times. But boundaries aren't consequences. They're not ultimatums. They're not punishments. They're protecting the loved ones, you know. That's what I think most people, when they start understanding that aspect to it, things kind of change, because it's not, they think it's an ultimatum. The addict certainly thinks and will say it out loud, you know, but when the families finally make that switch or transition to, I need to take care of myself because everything up to this point hasn't been working, and these boundaries are going to lead to peace and contentment to the best of their ability, I think families connect that way. Otherwise, they just think it's ultimatums and punishments.
Well, and the reason why they think that is that because they're thinking for the addict and the alcoholic. They're not thinking for themselves. You know, we had a little dose of that yesterday where there was a family that was like, well, you know, when he's done a jaywalker, you know, he's going to have to, you know, find a place to live, and he's probably just going to have to go live at our house. I'm like, whoa, okay, stop. And I'm like, you just made a choice to allow him back into the house. And, you know, that's a terrible idea. Make him find his own job. Well, you know, he doesn't have a job and he's got animals. I'm like, I don't care. Stop solving his problems. People change through necessity, not because they wake up one morning and they're like, oh my God, I must change my life. You know, we change out of necessity because the people around us are like, dude, I'm done. This is over. Or the people are like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Let me know how that works out. I know, and I have so much faith and confidence in you that, Jay, that you're going to solve this problem. I can't wait to see how you figure this out.
Well, thank you for that, Kevin. Yeah. I've not really done that a lot in my life, but thanks for the vote of confidence. But what you're kind of saying too is, as someone that tests boundaries and kind of look for holes within the fence, like an addict alcoholic, they may hear boundaries and they'll say like, I'll just wait this out. Like, cause they always know someone within the system will come out strong. And then what the question is, you know, still a boundary if we don't enforce it every time, you know, the boundary gets thrown out, because then it's just words at that point, because they know they're playing the waiting game. I played the waiting game. Like, they may say no today, but we'll just wait until tomorrow. And more often than not, the loved ones are the ones giving in quicker than the addict is giving in, because, you know, they're looking for the high, but we've got some staying power. We'll, you know, if we see the pot at the end of the rainbow, we can wait them out longer than people think. So yeah, I think the boundary needs to be realistic and willing to do and say, otherwise don't say it. And it's got to stay the whole time.
Yeah.
Can't make exceptions. It's his birthday, whatever it may be. So
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? Is that it's, and again, kind of like what you said, right? You know, we're the family members are the ones it's going to cave. And that's because they're coming at it from their wound. They're not coming at it they haven't healed their wound. And the only way they're going to be effective with these guys or with these people is if they go at As that person is getting help, you're getting help healing your wound. Otherwise, we're just going to keep doing the dance. It's never going to change.
And it just takes one within the chain too.
Yeah.
Just not,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a family last week. They were like, Jay, I don't understand. Like for the last 4 weeks, we put boundaries in, and then they called me up this week and they're like, we found the problem. My sister, his aunt, has been giving him money. Like, it's like, and I'm just like, well, like you just turned, you guys did really, really well, but you knew something was still up. So obviously that just tells you 1 week, weak link throws everything up. So,
it's always someone one step removed, right? That's not feeling the pain of the addict and the alcoholic. That's like, oh, I don't know why your parents are being such hard asses.
I'm going to say like being the cool aunt and uncle, but I'm guilty of that. I'm not, I spoil my niece and nephews, but I won't break boundaries to the best of my ability, but I don't think I would. Maybe the niece. I mean, she has me wrapped around my,
They're supposed to.
So, just in general, I think the question is about how upfront. They actually included Jay and Kevin in this question, just so let the record show, like it's not just straight Kevin, which I appreciate. So, little tidbit. That's what gets you on the show if you mention my name. But anyway, are you guys up front? And they're basically kind of spitting out kind of research and statistics about treatment not necessarily working. What do you realistically tell families going into treatment, seeing that the success rate really isn't all that good? Like, do you guys hide the fact of all the research? And I'll just say, like, man, I'm upfront as can be. Like, and I'm also upfront in saying that this isn't a 30-day problem. So this is a long journey product. But
yep. Yeah. I mean, that's the answer. I mean, what do? I make them read my book. I mean, literally, that's what I make them do. And then they come back and understand, oh, okay, using my insurance for the 30-day program, that's a waste of money and time. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't mean to be mean, right? But it really is. And I mean, are there some 30-day programs that are actually pretty solid? Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, I know some guys and some places that I really think are awesome. And if somebody comes to me and says, hey, all I have is the deductible in my insurance, I'm like, okay, cool. But then let's talk about the 6-month, 9-month, 12-month plan on that. Because this person is right. The statistics are terrible. They're like, 30-day programs have about a 4% success rate of getting somebody to a year. I think it was the last big one we did as an industry. I mean, a little shameless plug here, self-promotion. That's why Jaywalker is a 9-month program. We see success. We see tremendous success with people that stick with us. About half the people that do just 90 stay sober for a year. About 75 to 80% like do 6 months and then leave, stay sober. And then obviously 9 months, you're getting about the 90% factor, those are just in-house statistics, but that's the reality. I mean, it's just a hard, cold reality, no, they're right. No, I don't dance. I don't hide. I tell people up front. And if they tell me, hey, look, I can't afford that, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's make a plan. And then you're going to have to hold them accountable to the plan, because the plan is going to be, sure, go do the 30 days or whatever they'll give you. Might not even be 30, And then when you get out, we got to talk about what's the next step. Is it sober living, IOP?
Yeah.
The longer they can stay engaged, the better their chances are.
Yeah. I always call 30-day or 28-day, whatever it is. I call that, in my opinion, it's detox, because I think that takes when you leave 30 days, your brain is basically just drying out. But people are like, no, detox is like 3 to 5 days. And I was like, well, that's insurance company lingo. Like I'm just, like 30 days is my version of detox, because you see anyone coming out of 30 days and say like they feel a ton better. You absolutely, but that doesn't mean like your brain is just getting back to kind of restarting.
Barely. If you look at the brain scans, the difference between someone who's using and someone who's 100 days clean and sober, it's very minimal. You got to get into the 6-month, 9-month plan where you start seeing significant change. And here's the thing too, and this is a significant piece of this. We're seeing at Jaywalker so many guys come in with cannabis-induced psychosis, and I got to tell you, sometimes it's 8 weeks, 12 weeks, or longer for them to come back to earth, and they do, and but then there's always some pretty heavy, behavior stuff that has to be looked at as well. But it just takes longer, and it's not going to happen in a 5-day detox or even a 30-day program. I mean, we get guys at 30 days that are still like, I can't tell you because the people on the other side of the wall are gonna, they're gonna come get me, and it's like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna argue with you, but let's just keep doing what we're doing. And then a month later, you're like, new person. You're like, oh, okay. And I get it. That makes perfect sense. You just have to be patient, especially today with what the stuff we're dealing with today.
Yeah. And that stuff can be bought at any 7-Eleven or sometimes corner store. So I don't know if I could have made it as a drug addict in these days. I don't think I could.
Pretty sure I wouldn't be here.
I said yes, please, far too many times, and I didn't ask follow-up questions like, what exactly is this? I just said yes. So
it's my favorite.
God bless the 90s. God bless the 90s. But anyway, Kevin, you did well. Take the rest of the day off. All right.
I will, other than the next 5 hours. Yeah.
Well, I'll call your bosses. I'll fix that.